Mercedes is now 100% focused on the 2024 season, with news coming out of the Mercedes camp about Lewis Hamilton putting his signature on a 2-year contract extension. The team has its full focus on delivering the Brit with a championship contender for 2024. The team ditched its unique zero-pods aerodynamic concept for something much more traditional at the Monaco Grand Prix this year, fixing itself a new direction to work with. And if you are a Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton fan, this video is all for you, as good news awaits with the team pushing hard for a title fight in 2024 and 2025, before the new regulations in 2026 makes that big, clean sweep. First, let's take a look at the simple fact. Mercedes made a huge blunder with the ground effect technical regulations in 2022. While they still got some good results, some podiums and a crucial race win at Brazil last year, and some podiums this year, anything other than the top step of the podium is considered as a failure when compared with the high standards Mercedes has set themselves within the turbo hybrid era. Red Bull switched off development early in the 2022 season, and Mercedes were the ones who took advantage of that. Ferrari made mistake after mistake, which basically allowed Mercedes to steal a win at Brazil last season, which was the reason behind the team sticking with its unique aero concept for 2023. Mercedes definitely made some changes on the way to the side pods profile within its winter development program, but it didn't take the team too long to figure out that the zero pods were no match to Red Bull's downwashing aero concept, and the team decided that both its unique aero concept along with Mike Elliott had to make its way out. That paved the way for James Allison to return as the technical director once again, and also for the concept shift at Monaco, where the team decided to put some actual side pods on to tick off that variable from the list. Now, the side pods are extremely important within these ground effect cars. While yes, the underfloor is the key component for downforce generation, which is proved by Red Bull's complex floor design, the side pods are also very important, as the entire car works as one aerodynamically, for things like drivability, how the air interacts around the side pods, and how that generates downforce becomes very crucial. We are talking about this to put some perspective into how much belief the team's engineering team has, even though they were working with a false concept for almost a year and a half. With even a false concept, the team was able to get podiums and even a race win last year. Also, they had a podium at Australia this year, which just shows that the car, even before the conceptual overhaul, has been strong, and it really is a testament to how strong the entire team is, and that shows why Mercedes are not a team that is happy with second place. However, Mercedes had to make that change in concept after the Bahrain Grand Prix, and most of us fans were pretty surprised of the team not making that change over the last winter break, which actually did put the team on the back foot in 2023. By day 2 of preseason testing, Aston Martin jumped Mercedes in the pecking order with a much faster and stable car, a design inspired by Red Bull's aero philosophy. Now they have dropped off and are the 4th fastest team officially, but we do expect them to mount a challenge once more in 2024. With their development program over the winter. But the fact is, they made an early concept switch in 2022 at Barcelona, and were able to learn a lot about the new direction they were taking on, and produced a competitive machine the next season itself, with using most of Mercedes components speaks volumes. Even worse than that, after Mercedes making the concept change, McLaren made their first upgrade suit, and jumped the silver arrows on the pecking order. So not switching early has really put the silver arrows on the back foot. While the step taken by Mercedes has upsides, let's talk about the downsides first. The new concept Mercedes introduced at Monaco has been rather consistent, being the 2nd or the 3rd fastest car since its inception, and the new car has had some strong races, even was able to bag a pole at Hungary, beating the mighty Red Bull. We have listed the Mercedes to be the 2nd or 3rd fastest because Ferrari has been nowhere. While being fast on quali, they drop off the cliff on race day. Mercedes, though, have been very consistent throughout the races, and their drivers now seem to be at a much happier position than where they were at the season's start. Still, the drivers have complained of some issues, like the rear instability and the cockpit positioning. With all this, Mercedes has made a decision, and they are now focusing on the 2024 car, and I believe this decision was made even before the summer break, around at Hungary. Now, there will be further upgrades being introduced to the W14, which was confirmed by James Allison himself because of planned packages being in the pipeline, and any learning this season will help the Mercedes engineering team to build the W15. But if you recall last season, Mercedes did not stop development of its W13 till Austin, Texas, whereas they have stopped early this season. And the reason behind this decision is that the team is limited by the W14's monocoque, by the car's chassis. You may recall the complaints Hamilton was making regarding his seating position in the car and how that was affecting his feel when driving. Well, the team could not make any changes to solve that issue due to the cost cap not allowing the team to introduce a new chassis in season. And unfortunately for Mercedes, the team has to design and develop a new chassis for 2024, which puts them right on the back foot. That is because while all the teams will be building a new chassis for next season's car, they do not have to scrap their old design and build a new one. Other teams can just build on what they already have, while Mercedes has to scrap their old design and build a brand new chassis for next season car. Developing a brand new chassis brings in a lot of complications for a car's development, as the car's bodywork gets affected by a chassis redesign. Simply, let's say the new monocoque puts the driver's seating position a bit behind than the previous iteration. That means the team has to shift the halo's position, which means the side pod's positioning and other body parts related to that has to be repositioned, affecting the entire car's aerodynamic principle. Not to mention the changes the team will have to make to the car's mechanics, like the front and rear suspension where a lot of performance can be lost or gained. For example, McLaren last season were screwed by a 15mm change within their floor, leading to the team scrapping their entire aero concept. That is where the opportunity presents itself. Because if McLaren had not made that decision to scrap its aero concept last season, it may not have the car that it has now. So that's the upside. The opportunity Mercedes gained with their concept change early on, double down on 2024. It's the same way that Aston Martin and McLaren approached the 2023 season, and they were able to gain a lot of performance on the way. Mercedes now have 10 races within the second half of 2023 to gain the data on whatever they need to develop the 2024 car to come out, firing all cylinders right out from day one at preseason testing on 2024. Mercedes is adamant that they now know where they should make changes and what direction they should be focusing on to be better than Red Bull. While their customer teams, Aston Martin and McLaren, think taking in the Red Bull concept and retrofitting it with some other ideas, Mercedes are focusing on a somewhat of a different concept. This is a huge gamble from Mercedes' side, as they are still not on the same path as Red Bull are. This gamble could pay off if the team can find out some large performance gains over the winter. The problem with following the path that Aston or McLaren has chosen is that Red Bull are the leaders on this direction. They have a much larger understanding on their concept than any other team on the grid. So matching their understanding is a difficult task for Mercedes. But going on a different direction and finding something in that direction to gain a huge chunk of performance is the best bet for any team. And that is the best bet for Mercedes if they want to beat Red Bull next season. Fighting Red Bull and fighting for a world championship is something the team has to give to Lewis Hamilton before 2026, where a lot of unknowns will be present. Realistically speaking, if the team is able to give Lewis a shot for his 8th, it's going to be within this set of technical regulations where the team has some understanding of. 2026 is still a lot of unknowns, and it is difficult for the team to convince the 7-time world champion for a title shot then. So the best bet for the Brit is 24 and 25. Therefore, the team are throwing all they have on the 2024 car. But what do you guys think? Can Mercedes realistically produce a machinery which is championship worth in 2024? What are the odds of this new direction Mercedes are confidently taking will turn out to be a success? Very much into your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads, to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula One season.